Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. This is your host, Trip Kramer from tripadvice.com. And on today's episode, what I want to talk to you about is the truth about romantic comedies. That's right. I feel like this is an episode that should have been done a long time ago, but one that I'm excited to do now because I want to spill the beans on what all these romantic comedies are really saying to you. And also not just romantic comedies, but TV in general, the media in general, what you see in stories and anything you're watching on Netflix, okay? So anything to that matter, it is, it's a pretty big deal. So that's why we're uncovering the truth today. Now, a quick update, just so you know, if you have yet to get from me the free gift called Chick Crack, where it gives you the topics of conversation that women really like to hear about, then I want you to go check that out. I'm going to put that in the episode notes, but you can go to tripadvice.com/chick-crack. So go check that out if you're learning about how to better talk to girls and to better your conversation skills in general. I think it will help you out a ton. So go ahead and check that out. Now let's dive into today's episode. The truth about romantic comedies and pretty much any romance that you see on TV. And here's the big problem. Basically, in a nutshell, what's happening here is that you are getting a false view of how romance and how attraction and even how relationships really work. You're not getting the full idea because what you're seeing is something that was created for you as a consumer and you as a person who is in fantasy land, okay? Because that's the whole idea here, is these romantic comedies and what you see in terms of romance on television is all playing to the fantasies of you as a consumer. I know that sounds kind of crazy, like fantasy. That's usually something you hear when it's a little bit more rated R. But no, there are fantasies that you have in your head about what it means to attract a woman, to get the popular girl, to get the pretty girl. And there's even fantasies in women's heads who want to get the man or the man who is hard to get. So it all depends on who's watching what. But in this case, we're really going to be talking to you, the male consumer who watches all these relationships and watching things happen in movies and TV and things like that. So what's happening is you're basically entering a fantasy world. That's not the real world, even though these days, writers are trying to make things more realistic in some TV shows. And I know comedy producers like Judd Apatow is trying to make more realistic type of portrayals of romance and teen angst and things like that. But again, it's still playing to you as a consumer because you have to have some sort of emotional uplift as you're watching these shows and these movies, right? You can't just watch it and be bored. It's got to spike your emotions. So they play to the fantasies. So what are some of those common fantasies? Well, one of the common fantasies that I see way too much is the idea of the friend zone. That's right, the friend zone. So when I say friend zone, I mean you've probably seen some TV shows, you've seen some movies where the kid in high school or the college kid or even the kid in his 20s is friends with a girl who he finds really attractive. Maybe he's even in love with her, which, by the way, I'll get to that in a second. That's false in itself, but that he's in love with her and he's friends with her and he hopes one day that pretty girl, the pretty popular girl, will finally dump her jock boyfriend or dump her asshole boyfriend or some mean guy, and then finally will go with him. And of course, a lot of those TV shows and movies end up that way, right? The nerdy guy gets the girl. Now, I'm not saying that is unrealistic, like a nerdy guy can't get a girl or some guy who's unattractive can't get an attractive girl. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the way that it's written and it goes about it is completely false, because that doesn't happen. And I feel like that's giving false hope to a lot of guys out there, guys who are, maybe in high school, college, or even older, who have a pretty girl that they like, and they hope that one day, if they just be friends with the girl long enough, that magically the girl will start to like them and see all of a sudden, wow, this guy is someone I want to be with. How could I have not seen it all along? My friend, my best guy friend all along was the guy that I wanted to be with. And let me tell you something. It's very rare that that ever happens. Of course, it happens in movies, happens in TV. And, maybe you're like, duh, Trip. I've seen these before. I know it's not realistic. But I know a lot of guys who may be listening right now who are like, okay, I'm guilty of thinking maybe that's the way things work. And if it worked in this movie and it worked in that TV show, then it's possible for me. But no, it's a fantasy. It's playing to your fantasies, because that is not the right way to attract a girl. You don't go about it by being friends with her first. That's not the way to do it, because in reality, what ends up happening is the girl becomes your friend, and she sees you as a friend, and the longer and longer you go without letting her know that you like her, or that you're interested in her, or that you want to take the friendship to the next level, or that you're attracted to her, the longer you go without doing that, the more and more you enter what's called the friend zone. She sees you more as a friend, and it's difficult for women to see you as something that is not a friend, or that is out of the category of friendship once she has put you in there. I'm not going to go into a lot of the reasons why. That's a whole maybe other episode altogether. But just trust me in the fact that it's harder for her to see you as someone that's relationship material, because she's already convinced herself that this guy, you maybe in this case, is just a friend. So I want you to know that that's not how things work. What you end up seeing a lot too in romantic comedies is this guy maybe liking a girl, and it's not until the very end that all of a sudden, poof, she sees him as some sort of attractive guy, right? What ends up happening is the nerdy guy, or even just the guy in general who's going after the girl, does something heroic, beats up a bad guy, saves her life, does something that is good for her, that shows off his abilities as a man. And then all of a sudden, in that instant, boom, she likes the guy. She's attracted, and then guy gets girl, and they live happily ever after. And again, this is completely false. This is false because attraction for a woman does not happen in an instant. It takes time. Now, be careful here. I'm not saying it takes so much time that you befriend the girl and it takes, a month or to a year for her to like you. No, but attraction doesn't happen in the beat of a second. For a guy it might, but for a girl it takes a little bit of time for her to understand who you are and develop you and see you portray your developed personality, right? So it takes time for her to understand, oh, this is a guy that I think will be someone that I could be with, or I'm attracted to. It takes a little bit of time. And with this case that I'm talking about here that you see in romantic comedies, that it doesn't happen in an instant like that. It's not like you do some sort of a righteous move and then all of a sudden, boom, she's interested in you. No, it's not how it works. Again, she has to get to know you. She has to talk to you. It's not just like, oh, she sees a hero do something and then boom, she wants to be in a relationship with this guy, or she wants to jump his bones. No, she needs to talk to you. She needs to get to know you. She needs to be able to have the time to see if you're a guy who she can be attracted to. If you're on my newsletter, I actually talked about an example that I saw in the show that Aziz Ansari has put out on Netflix, and that show is called Master of Nuns. Maybe you've seen that. It's very entertaining. It's a good series. I watched the first 2 seasons on Netflix, and it's good. But what sparked me to write the newsletter that I put out last week, and what sparked me to do this episode, is the fact that this guy was in a similar situation, but a little bit different. He was trying to go after a girl and befriend her and get her to be with him, even though she was in a relationship, which I must say is really one of the worst things you could ever do. Let me just say this to you now. Very important. If you ever meet a girl and she's in a relationship or she's married, you do not want to go for her. This is a desperate move. This is a desperate move, and you're doing really a few bad things. One, you're leaving yourself probably no other option than to get rejected. And if you don't get rejected, trust me, you don't want to do this thing where you get a girl who's in a relationship. It's wrong, because then you're going to get her to do something that she's going to regret in the future, which is cheat on her husband or her boyfriend. Or maybe there's the case where she breaks up with him for you. Well, you don't really want to be in that scenario anyways, because you don't want someone who's that fresh off of a breakup, especially someone who's been with someone for potentially a long time, right? That's not the type of relationship you'd like to start right off the bat and have her break up with him because of you. I know that sounds maybe ideal to you in your head because this is a girl that you've been pining after and that you really love or like, but trust me when I say that a girl that is going to break up with a guy for you, it's not going to be the greatest start to your relationship. It's going to be very rocky and very difficult to get over some of the bumps ahead of her trying to get over her ex and transitioning right from a breakup right to you, and to you being that you're the technical cause of it. You know, of course it takes two to tango. She did it too. It's not like you forced her, but still is off to a very rocky start. So let me just say, you don't want to start a relationship off like that. And of course, like I said, it's just wrong. It's just really a wrong thing to do. You don't want to try to break up any sort of relationship or marriage or anything like that. It's better for you to go for a girl who is single, who is ready, and who's ready to be in a clean, good start relationship with you. That is one of the best ways to start something, not from her leaving somebody. So anyways, in the show Master of None, he tries to go after this girl who is engaged. And of course, at the end of season 2, by the way, this is spoiler alert here, so fast forward about 15 seconds or 10 seconds if you don't want to hear what happens at the end of season 2, Master of None. Here's a spoiler. She and him end up together. At least that's what the show put out there. You know, you don't know, what happens, but you see them together in the bed after, he has confessed his love to her, and they end up together. And it's just highly, highly unrealistic that something like that is going to happen completely out of nowhere. So I just urge you, if you're ever watching romantic comedies, if you're ever watching any episodes and TV episodes where the nerd gets the girl for some heroic reason or for some reason that, has actually no basis in what attraction really is, then do not believe it. Remember that this stuff is written by guys and girls that are just like you and me, who are doing it from the comfort of their own laptops, who are doing it in an office with a bunch of other people, coming up with what will be the perfect line to say, the perfect ending, the perfect story. So you just remember that these are just being portrayed by actors that are lines that were created from some person's head. It's not real, okay? So when you go and watch these movies, enjoy the fantasy, enjoy the moment, okay? Enjoy the characters, but don't take it to something that could be seen as realistic or something that can happen to you, because that's not how attraction works. And if you want to know how attraction works, well, you should be listening to a lot of the episodes here on the How to Talk to Girls podcast. I have a bunch of episodes on that, and I have a lot of YouTube videos that talk about attraction as well, so you can learn about how it really works, okay? Another thing I was going to tap into is this idea how these guys in these shows and in these movies, they always say, oh, I'm in love with the girl. Oh, I love her. Or they say that they love the girl, and that's how they express the way that they actually like the girl, right? They don't say, oh, I like you, I'm attracted to you. They say, I love you, or I've been in love with you for over 3 years. And it's so funny because I just don't believe that's how love works. Love doesn't work on your own. Love is created when you are with somebody and you start to actually be with them in terms of a relationship and in terms of a level where you both are attracted to each other. I don't believe that love just exists in the vacuum of you and this feeling. It really is created because you are creating it with somebody else. So I just think it's so ridiculous that these people express their love to love someone who they don't even really know. Yeah, okay, maybe you know them because you've been on some sort of friendship level with them and you really think you know them, but you don't know the person unless you guys have been on dates, you guys have been intimate with each other, you guys have been in a relationship. That's how you really know you love someone, when you see someone in all their different emotions and all their different areas. And okay, you might still say, well, Trip, I have a girlfriend who I've seen her in all different times. We hang out all the time, but still, that's not love. I don't believe you can know what love is unless you are with a person on more of an attraction type of basis and not just a friendship. So it's just ridiculous to see all these romantic comedies and TV shows all with people expressing their love when it's just them saying that because it's a writer somewhere writing that out there, but it's not true love. Love is created when you can connect with someone on a deeper level, not a friendship level, and of course not on a level where you don't even know the person, because that happens too, where guys will admit they love a girl and they're not even friends with them. Again, in these movies and in these romantic comedies. So it's just completely, completely false. And I want you to know that and remember that. Remember that when you're seeing this stuff. Again, I'm not saying, I don't want to take the joy out of entertainment for you in movies and TV shows. I don't want to take the joy out of it for you. It should still be nice and exciting to watch these films. But just remember, it's not how attraction works, all right? Now, I just want to reiterate here from the beginning, if you are interested in learning how to start to spark the attraction with a girl, get a conversation going, check out my free program called Chick Crack, where you get the topics of conversation that girls like to talk about that help you with conversation and make it continues. You can go get that at www.tripadvice.com/chick-crack. And I hope you enjoyed this. I know I went on a little bit of a rant today, but I got fueled from watching that last season of Master of None. So maybe you heard this rant in the newsletter. If you're not on the newsletter, go to tripadvice.com. You can get on that way and hear me talk about stuff every single week and give you some cool tips. I don't usually talk about the stuff on the newsletter that I talk about on the podcast, but this just called for a nice little rant. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next episode.